Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Thursday, June the 9th. The year's 2022. Let's talk trading. Downs and ups with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and different from Walmal. Walmal, what a day it has been.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, if you look at the daily, range. I mean, we're talking about, at least on my chart, 57 pips for the day. So you'd say, oh, what could have happened today? Nothing could have really happened that significantly. But man, price has been moving in some crazy ways today. And you look at the 5-minute chart, lots of big return bars. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, there was one point today I actually said to you, I don't know of any news dropping today. Why did it move like that? Because it was a type of move that happens usually only during some type of big drop or some type of big news event. And nothing. What's going on in the world? Nothing. I can't figure out any practical reason or pragmatic reason why it did what it did. But man, there's been some moves today that are just absolutely crazy. And and that's kind of what happens. And I guess it's confession time. I did something today. I was trying something new that we had been talking about, and got myself into a little bit of trouble. And that happens from time to time. And learned some lessons.
Yeah, well, I wanted to, have us tell the traders, how you worked yourself out of that jam today.
Yeah, so what happened was today I went in and following this new method that we're looking at and playing with a little bit. It's not even a method. It's really more of a way to try to establish bias.
Well, I mean, we could tell them what it is. It's basically if the M30 and the H4 candle colors are the same, then you think about riding the trade for a while.
Right, exactly. And so I heard that from you. We were talking about this pretty late last night, or at least late for me, but probably not so late for you. But, and I heard one thing, you were saying something else, and then when I thought about it afterwards, it's sort of like, no, he said exactly what this was, and I heard it differently, and I traded it wrong because of that, and I got myself into some trouble. I was down to within, just a little tiny bit away from my point of where I'm not allowed to trade anymore for the day. And, and generally speaking, my goal normally, or my rule, it's not even a rule, it's a sort of a rule. It's like, if I'm that close to going and bouncing out, just don't even bother. Just come back tomorrow. And so I broke a rule and did that. So that's a rule I probably shouldn't have broken, but I did. And then what happened was I got into a trade, and it went in my direction. It looked great. Everything was going along. I was making up some of the loss, not much of it, but a little bit. And then bottom fell out of the pound, and it just went and dropped like in a tick. It dropped like, I don't know, 25 pips, something like that. And unfortunately I broke another rule. Another rule was I didn't put an emergency stop loss on it. So shame on me for not doing that, because then I would have just taken maybe a 7-pip loss or a 10-pip loss max, depending on where the market would have gotten me out. But now what do? Now you're down that many pips. Well, the good thing is that I didn't over leverage, when I got into that trade. So I had plenty of gunpowder left. Yeah, I was down substantially. I was down substantially for that trade. I was down substantially for what my goal limit was for the day. And what I was able to do was I saw that, hey, this is a place where I can get back in and I can try to make some of that money back up. And what I did was I was just very conservative, and just kept on, pecking away. And then what happened was, that the FOREX gods smiled on me, and one of the trades that I had put in on the bottom took off in the direction I thought it was going to take off, and which was great because I made up a bunch of it. And then I got another signal to go, and I went and stacked on. And by the time I was done, I was actually up for the day, and that. So what do you learn from all of that? Well, first thing is don't break your rules in the first place, because if you don't break your rules in the first place, there's a good chance that you're not going to wind up in that position, where I was at. I mean, you're going to be down days. You're going to be days where things just don't go your way. But, let's try to mitigate those things, actually, get into that place, because it would have been nice to be down only 10 pips and then be able to go and say, do things rationally, calmly, and do things in an orderly fashion. But if you do, the next step is just clear your head, smack yourself in the head if necessary, and just do what your trading plan says. We talked about, keeping things simple. Well, your trading plan should be very, very simple. So keep it simple and just go and do that. And, and you can just work your way out of it, and the thing is, though, you may not work your way out of it today. You may not work your way out of it tomorrow, if depending on where you're at.
And then?
Well, the thing is, that's what happened. I was able to go and get to the point where I actually closed. When I got out of that series of trades, I actually had made goal. At the end of getting out of all those trades, I was able to actually not only make up the loss, but even go to a point where I had made goal. And the great thing about that was that now, I then went and talked to you at that point and said, hey, what am I doing wrong here? And then you further clarified. And you made the statement of, but I said this. And then I said back to you, you did, but I heard this. And that's a very, very important point, because the reality, hold on one second, I'm getting out of a trade here.
Top of the hour.
Yeah, exactly. But,
Wait a minute. Tell them, what trade were you in?
I went when it broke the 20 line down there. I went in, and what happened was I went in when it broke the 20 the first time, and then it came back down across the 20 line again. It dropped down below it, and then I went in, stacked in, and put a second trade in. And so I just picked up 8 pips on one, and I picked up 12 on the other.
So
you see that on the 1 minute?
Yeah, so that's how you do. So that's how you do the downs and ups.
That's exactly how you do the downs and ups. Yeah, and what the idea is that I get into a trade, and up a little bit, and then it goes down and goes against me, but the trade is still a valid trade. In fact, if I missed it the first time, that's where it would have gone in the second time. So I'll go in a second time, and then what you can do is then you can pick up a substantial number of pips, because between those 2 trades, I picked up 20 pips, which is great. I mean, that's unusual for me, because normally I'm only looking to pick up, 2 or 3 pips. But here is a situation where it just looked good. And why did I stick in that trade? Because of that new indicator that you were working on yesterday, where basically all it's doing is, if the H4 and the M30 are in agreement, then that's something you stick to. But if they're in disagreement, then you're looking at it more as a scalp type thing. You just go and take whatever you can and get out. But I was in agreement on both of them, so let's go and stick with it. And that's why I stuck. Unfortunately, what I was doing that got me in trouble was that I was looking at more as a trigger as opposed to a bias.
Right.
Even though you went and said it's a bias, and you said it to me probably 20 times last night. It doesn't matter. It's not what I heard.
So anyway, so the thought when you said you were getting out of a trade, you were on a thought. You probably forgot what it was.
Probably did, but basically, the whole idea is that my thought pattern on everything, it really is this. You got to stick to your trading plan, man. You got to stick to it, and you got so like the George Michael song, Faith. You got to have faith.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you stick to your trading plan and then it's working, then it just boosts your confidence. But I think what happens to a few traders is they're going to evaluate something after maybe 5 or 10 trades, when that's really not enough to prove something to you. It's a start. You got to start somewhere. So you take those first 10 trades, but you have to religiously stick to the plan. And then at the end of it, if you make it doesn't matter if you made profit or if you had a loss. You go back and you evaluate your trades. Did you stick to the plan? What did you learn? Was there something that you could have done better, but not the hairy hindsight, because if your trading plan said to exit here and you exited and then the thing ran up another 10 pips, it's like you said before, when you left the table, those pips weren't on there. I don't know if you were on the video or not, but it's like a restaurant and you're at the at the buffet line, and you take the last 6 shrimp and then you walk away. Okay, well, you've been through the line. It was one of those one pass only, but now they brought out a brand new thing of shrimp. Well, those shrimp weren't there when you were in the line. You didn't. It's like you were in the line. You didn't wait. You exited. So they weren't on the table at the time. So you didn't leave anything on the table.
No, they were gone. They just weren't meant for you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you got to look at it that way, because as soon as you don't, you start playing all types of head games, get yourself into trouble. And I'd go and just to go and add to what you were saying about, don't evaluate something after 3 trades. I put a challenge out there, and the challenge would say, don't evaluate something until you've had 100 trades. Okay. And then after you've had 100 trades, go back and look at them, and how many of them were really truly trades, or was it because you messed up because you didn't follow the plan? And if you didn't follow the plan, you know what? Go back, like in Monopoly, go back to the beginning and start all over again, because you didn't follow the plan.
Right.
Start all over again. And until you can get those 100 trades under your belt, you haven't done anything.
Yeah,
You really...
Yeah, well, like I said, I like to do them in 10 trade chunks, but you're right. You need at least 100 trades to say what, and 100 good trades. So let's just say out of those 10 trades, 5 of them followed the plan. Well, so now those are the 5 ones. And then you do the next 10, and maybe you did another 5 that followed the plan. And then maybe the third time around, it starts to sink in, and you get 8 trades that follow the plan. So when you've got, maybe, 3 sets of 10, 30 trades in a row, and you followed the plan, 50 trades in a row, you followed the plan, then you could say, hey, is this thing working? Oh, yeah, it's working. Then you're going to build confidence in the plan, and then you're going to quit thinking and just react. Because the one thing I noticed about you, Walmal, I think we're going to have to do a video. It's going to be called Driving the Market. Because you can talk and listen and trade at the same time, just like you're driving a car. It's
right.
Total reaction as opposed to really thinking about anything. Now, every now and then, you get quiet on me.
Yeah, usually it's right at the point of when I'm exiting. It usually doesn't happen when I'm entering. It happens when I'm exiting.
Right.
And that's usually when I'll get quiet on you. But you're right. Trading should get to that point where you're sitting there in the front seat of your car and your buddy's next to you and you're driving cross country or something, and you're just having a pleasant conversation, and you're just following with what do you do when you drive a car? You think about all the things you're doing. You're accelerating, you're braking, you're turning, you're paying attention to see if there's anything in front of you. You're watching out for the road signs. You're watching out for the terrain of the road. You're watching out for the weather of the road. You're doing all those things, but you're not thinking about them. At least I don't think about them when I'm driving. They just happen instinctively.
Right.
Well, that's where trading needs to get to.
Exactly. And you know what? Talking about getting to, we got to the fastest 15 minutes in trading once again here. So, fellow traders, the downs and ups of trading. You're in a trade, stick to your plan, don't give up. If your plan says to add in at a certain point, you add in. And you don't really think about the result. You're just more focused on the process, because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. And this is the Rumpled One, over and out.